This place has 3 seasons of fall-like weather, almost 18 hours of daylight in the summer, idyllic parks, elegant and enchanting architecture. Would you believe this is the former Soviet Union?
It was so nice that we can't wait to go back next year. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you're dreaming of the full-time travel lifestyle, because it might be easier than you think and we can help you do it.
We're talking about Riga, Latvia. This country is bordered by Estonia, Russia, Belarus, and Lithuania in northeastern Europe.
We stayed in the centers area, which is kind of outside the historic center, but it was still very close. It was about a 10-minute walk to the actual historic center, and it was not as expensive.
Yeah, we flew into the Riga airport, which is a really small airport. It's really easy to navigate, and we took a Bolt into town from the airport. It was 13 euros or $15.22.
So obviously they do use the euro there in Latvia, and it is a fully developed country. You can drink the tap water. They had really stable, good, strong internet, and they use those 2-pronged European electrical outlets.
This is the former Soviet Union. They declared independence in 1991. That's just 34 years ago. Hard to believe. It's really not at all what we expected either, especially after having been in Albania, which is kind of a ways behind Latvia, I would say, from a development perspective. What do you think, Amelia?
I would agree with you, JP. It had more personality and character, I think, as far as the architecture goes, because in Albania they have a lot of those communist style buildings.
A lot more developed too.
It is a lot more developed.
All right, now let's talk about the pros before we dive into the downsides of Riga. And the first one is a long daylight in the summers. They have 18 hours of light in the summer. It's unbelievable. The first light is at 3:29 a.m. or it was on June 6th when we were there. And the last light was at 11:16 p.m. So that was 17 hours and 52 minutes of daylight. The longest day actually though is June 21st, of course, because it's the northern hemisphere. Official sunrise is at 4:29 a.m. and sets at 10:21 p.m. Of course, you have light a lot longer than that because it's so far north. The sun just takes forever to set.
Yeah, talk about messing up our body clocks. You really need to sleep with one of those eye masks unless you could sleep with daylight.
Yeah, I used one every single night. The weather in the summer is also amazing. It was only 59 degrees out when we were filming several of our videos on June 10th at 9 a.m. in the morning. And we spoke to a local who told us that they really only have 4 seasons and 3 of them are fall.
Yeah, it was cool and I loved it. But the locals told us the winters aren't as cold or snowy as they've been in the past. So I think, okay, Latvia, they must get a ton of snow. But according to the locals we talked to, they used to have 90 days or more of snow cover, but now it's only like a few weeks. So the weather has changed, but still those temperatures I thought were perfect. If you want a really warm summer place though, Latvia is not going to be your place.
Yeah, it's usually only in the 60s Fahrenheit for a high. The city has beautiful parks. They're manicured and pristine. There are parks all over the place. They run right down the middle of the city. We would go for long walks in the morning from one park to the next, and we just walked along the canal and along the edge of the historic center. And you can also take a leisurely boat ride. We didn't do that, but we saw a lot of other people doing that.
It did look really romantic to take that, but I was enjoying our walking so much. I loved those parks. Everything was so green, and there were a ton of beautiful trees and flowers and really nice statues and fountains, and everything was just so well maintained. It was just fantastic.
I love that Russian Orthodox cathedral that was in the one park. It's the gold domes with the blue sky and the sun hitting it. It was, the contrast was just incredible. I took way too many pictures.
We did stop over there a lot.
There is a big river too that runs through the city, and there's nice biking paths and walking trails along that, as well as on the bridges that go over the river. So the walking paths are actually underneath the driving lanes, so you don't have to be next to the traffic, which I thought was nice.
Well, I really appreciated it because it was covered and it kept us out of all that wind, because remember we walked over there and it was super windy that day.
Yeah. The city in general is very flat and walkable, especially after we were in Vienna and Prague and some of the other places we've been, Malta, where it was so hilly. It was so flat and easy to walk around there. There's bike lanes everywhere. There are crosswalks and the traffic stops for you. There's cycling lanes, pedestrian lanes. There's a huge pedestrian only area right down in the historic center. And there's plenty of scooters to rent if that's your cup of tea.
Well, there's also those underpasses to walk and cross underneath the streets, so you don't have to deal with crossing passing on the busy street.
Yeah.
So I really liked that part of it too.
Yeah, I appreciate those underpasses when they have those. A lot of times there were buskers down there too, so you had nice classical music to listen to as you were walking through.
They have plenty of trams and buses and those trolley buses. We didn't actually ride any of those because we were able to walk everywhere. That's one of the great things about Riga. It's not a huge city. It's very accessible. But if you want to, you can buy passes at the convenience stores and they're inexpensive. You can get a 90-minute pass for €1.50, or you can do €5 and get a whole day pass if you wanted to take some public transportation. They also have a main central train station, and that is connected to the Eurorail network.
We were surprised by how quiet the city was. We've been to so many cities that are just so loud all the time, between the motorcycles and the buses and everything just making noise. And this city was so quiet.
It was so quiet that it was really noticeable to us. Even the people spoke quietly. They were also very friendly, but they were more reserved.
Another thing we noticed is there's not a lot of smokers compared to the other places that we've been, especially in Southern Europe, where there's a lot of smokers. We hardly saw anybody smoking.
Yeah, it was nice. The city itself, I thought it was fun and quirky. Parts of it I really liked. Like they had that great cat house, which was a really popular place to go and take pictures because you got the cats on the top of the roof. And then we just were wandering around and we stumbled into that little iron museum, which is actually irons for ironing your clothes. So I really enjoyed that.
We saw a lot of stag and hen parties, especially the Brits, I guess, go there. They must get cheap airfare or something. We saw a lot of British people celebrating their upcoming nuptials there.
Yeah.
And just generally people out having fun and celebrating life. We really appreciated that.
Yeah, there was a nice positive energy going through there. So the Historic Center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that does include the medieval Old Town. It was really neat, JP, to go, and all of you guys watching, to see the different architecture after being in Vienna and some of these other places, and then to go see the even older architecture. I just loved it.
Yeah, from the 1200s and 1300s, the domes and the castle, and it was amazing to see all of that old history. The town hall square, we had to go back down there in the evening to get the sun just right because most of the day those buildings were all backlit, so we had to go down several times to get those cool red and white buildings lit up.
I thought it was neat to learn a little bit more about the history too, and that canal around the city's old town, it used to be the fortress moat. How often do you get to say moat?
It was really good for people watching.
It sure was.
All throughout there. I think my favorite part, though, was all the Art Nouveau architecture. It's really kind of famous for that. It has one of the largest concentration of that style in the world. One of those buildings, Amelia, I thought looked like a Cyberman from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And I did absolutely love the Art Nouveau. I just thought it was stunning and everything was just so well maintained.
The National Library of Latvia, we didn't actually go over there, but you could see it across the river. That's another kind of famous building for the city. Now let's talk about restaurants and food, Amelia, one of our favorite topics.
Yes.
We did eat at a lot of the street side cafes and the outdoor eateries around town because the weather was so nice, and we weren't the only ones. There were lots of people doing that. We didn't see a huge variety. Like down in the Historic Center, it seemed like every one of those restaurants had the exact same menu, so it wasn't a lot of variety. And we also thought the costs were pretty similar to the other places that we've been in Europe. It wasn't nearly as affordable as I was expecting it to be for Latvia.
No, but there were still some really good options, and it was really a fun time just to go and sit outside and people watch. I really liked to go into Stockman, which is a large department store, and they also had a nice grocery store. Actually, that grocery store was super nice. They had a lot of international and specialty items. They have really good produce there. They have a farmer's market. They also have the Remy market, or Remy, I'm not exactly sure how you say that. So we didn't have trouble finding any of the food that we like to cook. And I thought as far as groceries go, the prices were very reasonable, very similar to what we've experienced throughout Europe.
I would say the cost of living there is moderate, certainly not as cheap as countries like Greece or Albania, but it was certainly more affordable than Vienna or Paris or London.
I would agree with that. And it was very safe. We felt very safe walking around. It's family friendly. We saw women and kids walking around by themselves. I walked around by myself with no problem or qualms at all.
Yeah, although we never did walk around at night because it didn't get dark till 11:30. We were in bed long before it got dark there.
That is very true.
Yeah, it's a smallish, easy to walk around city. You can walk everywhere. Really thought it was about the perfect size for a nice small city. We were very comfortable there. there. Before we talk about the downsides of Riga, which are pretty minor, you can spend 2 weeks with us there next summer.
We're organizing a LEAP, which is a lifestyle of exploration, adventure, and purpose for our new Turtle Travel Club members. And if you join now, you'll get notified when we announce the details.
Plus, you'll get access to our new Exit Express and Slow Travel Express e-courses. They're included with your membership, and they'll walk you through every step of the process to start your global adventure.
Take a leap by scanning this QR code or go to ameliaandjp.com/club to start living the turtle lifestyle today.
And now for the downsides. It is cloudy a lot there. It's right off the Baltic Sea, so you get a lot of rain blowing in through there and cold wind. There was only one day, though, when we were there that we didn't go outside because of rain. Other than that, the weather was pretty nice.
It was. We did get rained on a couple times, but remember it blew in so quickly. It would come and go like within 5 minutes.
A local did tell us that they're getting more rain now compared to heavy snow in the winter, but it's still cold. The average high in the winter is 31 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty cold, and they also have extremely short days in the winter. You might have long days in the summer, but the winter you're looking at like 6 hours and 44 minutes of daylight on December 21st.
Yeah, that is a kind of major downside for me. I like to have longer days, and to have it dark before 4 p.m. is pretty harsh.
I know, and I think that is actually the only downsides, though, because
I know.
I couldn't think of any others. I loved it there.
I loved it too. We were so comfortable there. We weren't ready to leave. We definitely could have stayed longer, and we're excited to go back. And I don't know if we mentioned that everybody we spoke to spoke excellent English.
Yeah, the English was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that once you get outside of Riga, it may be more difficult, but we did not have any problems at all.
All right, so let's talk about visas. If we do want to stay there longer, Amelia, since you're the visa queen, let's have it.
Well, we're not ready yet because we're not a retiree, but if you have a pension or if you're on Social Security, they do have a pension visa, and they like to say that they are the best at getting your visa process quickly. They also have an investor visa, and you can do real estate or capital, and of course they have work and study visas like most other countries do. You do have to prove you have sufficient finances to live there. For the pension visa, you need at least 1,101 euros per month. You do have to live in the country for 6 months to maintain your visa, so basically you have to become a tax resident there. However, that would mean you would not have to live there during the shortest days of the year.
That'd be nice.
I know. Plus that they're part of Schengen, so you could still travel to the other Schengen countries. You still can only do the 90 out of every 180 days, but that means that you could go to Riga and keep that as your home base.
Yeah, the time in Latvia does not count if you have a residency visa.
Okay, JP, what do you think? Is it a good option?
I think it's a fantastic option. I absolutely loved it and cannot wait to go back. It's fully developed. They have a solid infrastructure, well connected by air and train. There's things to do all year round, like cycling. In fact, we know some of our viewers were there cycling through Latvia and Eastern Europe while we were there. So you can do that in the summer. In the winter, you can go ice skating. Cross-country skiing is a huge thing.
I agree with you. I absolutely loved it. I had zero expectations, and talk about exceeding any expectations that I have. I was blown away. I think you would have a fantastic life there, and because you only have to live there 6 months out of the year, you would not have to stay during those short winter days. Hopefully they'll have a digital nomad visa that we could qualify for, but I think it'd make a good home base. The airport was great too.
Yeah, it was. It was right outside town, easy to get to, easy to navigate. I agree. I really liked it. Checked all my boxes. I just wish they had a better visa for us. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments if you think Riga would be a nice place to visit or live.
And remember to check out the Turtle Travel Club and join us on a future leap.
If you're interested in other parts of Eastern Europe, then check out these videos next.
That's all we have for this video. Before you go, leave us a like, please, and we will see you all next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.